Imagine a world connected not by the internet, but by a single treacherous road, a road of silk, spices, and secrets. This is the story of how that road came to be, not through conquest, but through the courage of one man. Our story begins in the heart of ancient China, in 138 BCE, within the glittering palace of the Han dynasty. Emperor Wu, a ruler with ambitions as vast as his empire, stood before his court. He sought an ally against the formidable Xiongnu nomads, the fierce horsemen who plagued his northern borders. Who would dare venture into the unknown western lands to find this ally? From the ranks of officials, one man stepped forward. His name was Zhang Qian. He was not a general or a prince, but an envoy, a diplomat, with a mission that would change the world forever. At dawn, the great gates of the capital city, Chang'an, creaked open. Zhang Qian, with a small escort of 100 men and a caravan of groaning camels, began his journey. Tucked safely in their scroll cases were maps of a world that was about to be redrawn. They were heading west, into the vast, unforgiving wilderness, into lands no Han Chinese had ever seen. The air was thick with anticipation and the dust of the unknown. The Silk Road was not yet a road. It was a dream in the mind of an emperor and a perilous quest for his loyal envoy. Their path led them directly into the jaws of the Taklamakan Desert, a place locals called the Place of No Return. Blinding sandstorms howled like angry spirits, turning day into night. The sun beat down mercilessly, and their precious water supplies dwindled to a few precious drops. But the desert's fury was not their only enemy. From the swirling sands emerged the very people they sought to outmaneuver, the Xiongnu. Bandits struck, swift and brutal. The small Han escort was overwhelmed. Zhang Qian was captured. His mission, it seemed, had failed before it had even truly begun. He was taken to the heart of the Xiongnu territory, a prisoner of the great Chanyu, the leader of the nomads. For most, this would have been the end. A decade of captivity, a lifetime away from home. But Zhang Qian was not most men. For over 10 long years, he lived among his captors. They gave him a wife, and he had a son. He learned their language, their customs, and their ways of war. He seemingly assimilated, becoming just another face in the bustling nomadic camp. But in the quiet of the night, by the flickering light of a butter lamp, his true mission continued. He never forgot why he was there. Secretly, he drew maps from memory and from conversations with other travelers. He studied the trade routes that crisscrossed the steppes, learning of distant kingdoms and exotic goods. His mind became a repository of priceless geopolitical and commercial intelligence. He was playing the long game, waiting for his moment. And then, after a decade of patience, that moment arrived. Under the cover of darkness, Zhang Qian escaped. His journey was far from over. In fact, the most crucial part was just beginning. He traveled west, deeper into Central Asia, through lands that were just names on his secret maps. He crossed the Pamir Mountains, the roof of the world, and entered the fertile Fergana Valley. There he encountered kings and traders and something that would mesmerize the Han Emperor, the heavenly horses. These were powerful, majestic steeds, far superior to the ponies of the steppes, capable of carrying armored cavalry into battle. His journey continued into the lands of Bactria and Sogdiana, remnants of Alexander the Great's empire. Here, Greek, Persian, and Indian cultures mingled. He saw traders bartering with gleaming Persian silver and delicate glassware. He smelled the intoxicating aroma of Indian spices and saw Buddhist monks carrying sacred texts. Zhang Qian, the diplomat, became a chronicler, an ethnographer, an explorer. He recorded everything: the geography, the people, their products, their politics. He was a human bridge between worlds that had never formally met. 13 years after he departed from Chang'an, a man returned. He was no longer the fresh-faced young official. His robes were tattered, his face weathered by sun and hardship, his hair streaked with gray. Of the 100 men who left with him, only one other returned, but clutched in his hands were his scrolls, intact and filled with the knowledge of a new world. Back in the Han Palace, a hushed court watched as Zhang Qian unrolled his maps before Emperor Wu. The scribbles and lines he had so painstakingly drawn in captivity now revealed a clear path. Here were kingdoms eager to trade. Here were potential allies. Here were the sources of incredible wealth. The emperor's eyes lit up. The political mission to find an ally against the Xiongnu had failed, but Zhang Qian had brought back something far more valuable, the blueprint for an economic and cultural superhighway. The Silk Road was born. Soon, the vision on the maps became a reality. Caravans, like long, slow-moving rivers, began to flow across the Gobi Desert. Camels, the ships of the desert, were laden with the treasures of China. Lustrous silk, which was worth its weight in gold in the West, intricate lacquerware, and fine porcelain. In return, they brought back wool, gold, silver, and the magnificent heavenly horses. Along the route, in bustling oasis towns, merchants speaking dozens of different languages haggled and traded. The road was awakening, and with it, the world began to shrink. But the most transformative commodity to travel this new road wasn't silk or gold. It was an idea given form by an invention that would empower humanity for millennia. In 105 CE, a court official named Kai Lun was experimenting in his workshop. He wasn't a merchant or a soldier, but an innovator. He took mulberry bark, hemp fibers, old fishing nets, and rags, mashed them into a pulp with water, and pressed the mixture into thin sheets. He had invented paper. Before Kai Lun, writing was done on cumbersome bamboo strips or expensive silk. It was heavy, awkward, and accessible only to the wealthy elite. Paper was light, cheap, and easy to produce. Its impact was immediate and profound. Like wildfire, the knowledge of paper-making spread westward along the very trade routes Zhang Qian had pioneered. Suddenly, knowledge was no longer chained to palace libraries. The Silk Road became a conduit for information. Scrolls containing Buddhist scriptures traveled from India to China, transforming its spiritual landscape. Contracts could be signed, securing deals between merchants from opposite ends of the continent. Scholars could share their discoveries, and poets could share their verses. A new era of intellectual and cultural exchange had dawned. Knowledge itself began to flow as freely as the caravans that carried it. Imagine Zhang Qian, perhaps in his later years, standing on a high mountain pass. As the sun sets, casting long shadows across the valley, he watches the endless line of caravans snaking their way towards the horizon. He sees not just camels and goods, but the realization of his life's work. His perilous journey, his years of captivity, had forged a permanent link between worlds. He had set in motion a chain of events that would shape empires, spread religions, and carry ideas that would define the future. He was the envoy who opened the door, and through it, the world rushed in. Thank you for joining us on this journey back in time. If you were fascinated by the story of Zhang Qian and the birth of the Silk Road, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next chapter in our series. See you next time.